Well, it's Monday. I thought I would do something that I don't usually do, and that is be on time, act like I have some sense, have a monochrome of coercion on this thing that we do that I call church. I guess lately it's been known as the Ogre Show and whatnot, but I still consider this church. I consider this a sacred little time where we all get together. I have found these two very unique gentlemen from a faraway land. Maybe that land is the progenitor of the land I live in. It doesn't matter. They're from a faraway land. And even though they speak a language that's very similar to the one I speak, their culture, their upbringing, their outlook on life, what they hold dear, what they disdain, all these things are drastically different than what I hold high, what I did. I mean, all of that. It's completely different. Why is that important to me? Because I get sick and tired, boys, of being told about bloody diversity when the only thing they mean by that is someone has to be a different skin tone. When I see diversity here, I have two people from a different country than I'm from, and these two people from that different country live in vastly different areas and in different and so I love diversity also. I celebrate diversity. I want to prove that today by starting out right away and getting our diverse opinions on this. Well, boys, I think we're going to start with story number 4. For those of you following along out there in the peanut gallery, you just look down. We only have 4 stories today in the show map, and you go to story number 4. It says, Trump literally kills kids, and if you vote for him, you should die. And that will connect you to a story about a man that was looking for his daughter, and come to find out she was shot and killed. And the backlash that came from this because he's wearing a Trump shirt. But if I can kick this off, gentlemen, it's important because this is what they say is an American problem. But I really want to hear it from you two. I don't care who starts it out. Does the rest of the world, is everyone really caught up in this, gentlemen? Do they think that school shootings happen every other day? Do they realize that this is the paramount of rarities? This is something that doesn't happen. Does the rest of the world think that every school is, they shoot them up every day?
Well, maybe not every day, in my opinion, but a lot of people, at least around where I walk and talk to people, seem to think that this is a regular occurrence and all guns should be banned and we don't have them in this country, so they shouldn't have them in that country and all that type of stuff. And then you start talking to people and saying, well, alcohol kills more people than guns do. Cars kill more people than guns do. The fact that fists and knives in our country kill more than what comparatively by percentage of population kills more than guns do in America. It's just a case of you look and you tell people and they're just like, no, they had 17 people die at once. It's like, yeah, they did. From a crazed lunatic kid that had the opportunity to be caught before it even began, from the school, from the FBI, from the kids that were reporting him. And to me, it's just a case of you only look at one point. It's like when you talk to somebody about cannabis. Oh, you said cannabis. Just because you said it, I'm not going to like any more than what you're going to say. It's just a word. As soon as you start saying guns, people get triggered. Either a good way or a bad way. Defensively or offensively. Nobody's going to look at this.
That may be the best pun of the day. Carry on. When you talk about guns, people get triggered, but carry on.
Wasn't even planned. But yeah, they get triggered defensively or offensively. So it's not a case that you can look at it as the left would say as a nuanced subject because there's too much personalities in it. You either have the right that would want to defend their gun rights no matter what, so to speak, and you have the left that want to get rid of it no matter what. They just don't want to come out and say it. And for people that are in different countries, it's a case of you don't understand their laws. I was talking to my dad about this, actually, to be fair. And he was like, oh, the Americans don't need guns anyway. I was like, Dad, even if they didn't have guns to hunt, they need guns to walk in the wilderness. They have bears, for fuck's sake. They have mountain lions. They have fucking coyotes. They have these animals that will literally hunt and kill you for no reason other than you are near it shit. Yeah, but they shouldn't have guns. Dad, fuck off. You absolutely have no idea about survival. At least that's my opinion anyway. I think I've took up enough air on that one.
Yeah, I'm thinking that what Common Sense was mentioning there was just how to show how strong the propaganda around guns in America actually is, and how it's actually affected a lot of people who still get their news from the mainstream. One thing you could also say, like Common Sense used the example of more people die from alcohol than from gun, well, from being shot, because not many people die just from picking up a gun. But if you were to say to somebody, well, so like, oh, you know, how many people have died so far this year from guns? I'd say, well, how many people in the world have died because of religion or in the name of religion? And nobody's asking to ban all religions, are they? It's just
depends.
Speak up, brother.
It depends.
He said for communism. I mean, it's, you know, yes, no one's asking to ban these things that kills many, many people.
Yeah, it's the great hypocrisy of political ideology, Mr. Ogre. A fine example we had. I know this is slightly going off topic, but bear with me. I'm sure most Brits will have heard of a Mr. Brendan Cox. He is the husband. He is the husband of the murdered MP, Joe Cox. Now, he was sort of put on a pedestal after she died as like some kind of heroic man who rose to the occasion. But
and he shat on that pedestal.
I know, but the thing is, Common Sense, all the information about him was already there. The former, I don't know if he was chief executive or was one of the higher ups in the charity Save the Children, and had to leave the charity under mysterious circumstances in 2015. And it transpires he was facing he was facing investigation in the charity for sexual misconduct. So decided to step down before the investigation went any further. And then, of course, his wife was murdered, and so he lapped it up and was brought out as a new golden boy of the left, this great virtuous tosspot. He was also part of the pushback against the trawlers who went down to London to support the Leave campaign. Her and her husband joined the mountain of yachts that were there full of the bourgeoisie sticking two fingers up to the working class.
Fucking bad.
But anyway, over the weekend, obviously, it's thanks to our wonderful Daily Mail. They've exposed him as not just being a sex pest, but a multiple sex pest. So much to the point, he's had to come out and admit, yes, I am a sex pest. And the great irony is all the feminist Labour MPs were on the TV on Sunday saying about
Jess Phillips.
Yes, old fucking revolting Jess Phillips, and the other one whose name I can't remember because she's so irrelevant, was saying stuff like, oh, well, this proves he's a real man, he's going to change. And yet, ironically, a couple of months back, a bloke called Toby Young, you might not know him, he works for the New Statesman, and he's very much on the right sphere of politics. And he had been appointed on some government board for higher education as like a spokesman, or I can't remember exactly what it was. And the absolute outcry because they'd appointed a right winger. So they did their best to dig something up on him. And they found some tweets from about 5 or 6 years ago where he basically said that a woman he'd met had nice tits. And basically was saying things about, I fancied this woman. And of course, that was it. He was disgusting. He was a sexist. He had no place in this committee and all that. So in the end, he had to resign. But isn't it funny how a man whose only crime was to say he found a woman attractive, where a person who is an actual confessed sexual pervert, who actually physically assaulted someone, because he's on the right political spectrum, fine, carry on. And it's the same thing with this. It is these people are attacking this fellow because of the fact he wore that T-shirt. Doesn't matter that his daughter died. It just proves that they don't care about people. All they care about is the ideology. And it's fucking frightening and sick.
Well, it actually matters a lot that his daughter died, bollocks, because if his daughter didn't die, then they wouldn't have a way to make him feel pain for something that he has not even done. And so when you see these people saying, you know, well, I felt bad for the daughter, but not for you, why would you feel bad for someone that's gone? There's no need. And so I hope you understand what I'm saying, Bollocks. They needed him to lose his daughter because now you can hurt this man. And it's these people that say, we want to protect the fucking children. We got to protect the aged, and we have to protect those handy-capable among us, and everybody else, we got to cry and hold hands and sing Kumbaya till the fucking sun comes up while we roast marshmallows and make motherfucking s'mores. You know what? They can all lick both sides of my Jew asshole. It's fucking disgusting to me. And I want to try to answer this question too, gentlemen, from a very esteemed follower, Antiharo on Twat. And the question is, what is the reason you feel? So what they're asking is, what contributed to the school shootings in America? Why do we have school shootings in America and not other places? I spent a lot of time the last couple of days looking through. We do have the equivalent. In every society, we have something like this. The question that needs asked, and we'll answer this question. This is me answering it. I'd like to hear from everybody. But I think Common Sense Guy, if I'm not mistaken, I follow a lot of people, but I believe he gave the best answer. Nobody gives a fuck about young men. Now, and I mean in the Western world, in Palau and Vanuatu, you know, the Fire Islands where they jump off the tall platforms with a vine tied to their bloody legs and stop the closest to the ground is the biggest man. Oh, man, men are celebrated there. They're what they should be. They're the protectors of their tribe. They gather, they get the food. They are what they should be. But in our Western world, nobody gives fuck one. Nobody gives a shit. They're all a load of bollocks. They're just men. They're just boys. They're rapists in training. And nobody gives a shit. So I feel like that's what plays the part. But I don't like the blackguarding of my country, that this only happens in the United States. This outworking, this manifestation may be more prevalent in the United States, is more prevalent in the United States. But the outworking of male just leaving.
Not sure alone. If that's gone any.
Yeah, and I've wore my wind out. So if one of you gentlemen would like to either answer that or talk about and that was you, wasn't it? Common Sense that made that point.
Yeah, it was. I am going to go on a slightly different tangent, though. I am going to say that, in my opinion, the reason why America depends on how you want to go. I could go down a conspiratorial route. I could go down the Alex Jones route. I could make an extremely fucking good case for it as well. But the fact that this was probably staged, there was too many fucking loopholes where this kid has been able to jump through. The fact that he's been not reported in the same way. When he has been reported, it's been a case of being dropped and whatever. It's just a case that I can make that case. It's just a point to me that I don't think that that's the right case to go down. You can go and look at the kid instead. The kid in itself or himself has had mental issues. Now, if you go back towards most of the people that have done things like this, they have had some form of mental issue, or it's been stated that they have a mental issue, or some sort of deviant in their head, or whatever. It's a case that, in my opinion, that's the problem that we have. We don't deal with the fact that we have mental health issues in our countries. We don't deal with the fact that men in themselves seem to be falling down and not being able to carry on with what's going on, that haven't been able to deal with their parents dying properly, that have been bullying children since the beginning of high school and have nothing done about them, not gone to a counselling session once in all of that time, even though that person was calling people absolute horrible names and whatnot. Or whatever. It's a case that person's never gone through counselling whatsoever. That person's never gone through any psychiatric evaluation whatsoever. Now, if that school decided it was a good idea for that kid to do that, that kid would never have got a gun in the first place, because he would have been psycho-evaluated and then it would have been proven that he has a slight problem. Now, that's a different issue.
But I'm a true American that don't believe that a slight problem would cause someone to have to lose I mean, all you got to do is read our Constitution. People lose sight of the fact that these are some of the rights endowed by mankind by their creator. Our founding fathers didn't say we are giving these rights to people. They're saying these are rights people have that have been stopped in the past.
No, I understand where you're going over.
And what I'm going to say, common sense, is there are many people with manic depression. They call it now bipolar disorder. There are many people with many disorders. Why would you take someone's right to bear arms away from them?
In this instance, it's a case that boy was saying, I'm going to kill people with guns.
Oh, now in this instance, but we're not taking the guns away then because he's got some kind of mental challenge. We're taking the gun away because he's a fucking asshole that said he's going to murder people. That's different, see?
Yeah, but that's the reason. It's the fact that he has the mental issue to do that. And I'm not saying that everybody with mental. I'm not saying that everybody with mental issues is not allowed to have a gun. I'm saying that ones that say I hear voices in my head that are telling me to do stuff, or the ones that are saying I'm going to kill people because, probably don't deserve to have a gun and should maybe go to a counselor and a psychiatrist to put that on their record.
John Nash, the famous mathematician that quantified equilibrium and explained it mathematically. He should not have been able to own a firearm to defend himself.
I don't know what you mean.
He's paranoid schizophrenic.
I don't know. Was he taking medication for that? I don't know.
Common sense. The movie A Beautiful Mind, that was John Nash. He shouldn't have been able, he got killed in a car accident, but he shouldn't have been able to own a firearm because he was diagnosed paranoid schizophrenic.
It depends. As you well know, Oka, there's different levels of paranoid schizophrenia. For a start, if you have paranoid schizophrenia, it doesn't mean that you have voices telling you to go and do shit. It just means that you hear other things in the back of your head.
True.
So it depends on what level of paranoid schizophrenia you're talking about.
Well, I'm just going to say this. Let's not stigmatize. Let's be careful, especially the field you're going into. Let's be careful not to stigmatize and blanket take away people's rights based on a mental diagnosis. Let's take rights away.
You're extrapolating my point and then putting it into a point that you think I'm making, and I'm not making that point. I'm not saying people with mental illnesses should or shouldn't have guns. I'm saying that they should be evaluated on a case-by-case value. And if you have a kid that's saying, or a person saying to you, I'm sorry, that person probably doesn't have the right anymore to have a gun.
That may work
in my point
with 50 million people, but there's 350 million people here. You can't do some kind of in-depth and the idea that there's
it's not in depth
running around the world saying that we don't have background checks. We have very serious,
I know you do. I know you do. I'm not one of those people that's trying to say, that they should have more stringent checks. I'm pointing out the fact that this kid somehow missed the fucking opportunity in school to get evaluated, was being told by people, himself as included, that I'm going to go and kill people, to the FBI and to the school, and he wasn't being admitted. He wasn't being evaluated. He wasn't being investigated. That's the point I'm making, not the fact that...
I can't argue with that. I want to argue with you. Obviously, I'm trying to pick a fight, but I can't argue with that. This particular person, but common sense, can we agree that not based solely on his psychological evaluation, this is based on this kid is beyond messed up. This kid says he wants to kill people. The girl in the hallway that heard the other shooter was walking out next to the shooter and said, we all was talking and kind of laughing in the weird, you whistle past the graveyard in a weird kind of way. And we were thinking that it was you, the girl that heard the two shooters. Yes, there were two shooters in this and nobody's talking about it. But, so if they knew, if there were so many kids there that thought it was this person, we're going beyond the weirdo at the lunch counter in school. That it's like, everybody don't like him because he maybe doesn't have the best hygiene or has some weird things.
No, this kid was a bully. This kid was a bully. He has been put down as a bully.
Yes. So we agree. I just want everyone else to hear. And if it's by us having a heated debate, I'm all for that.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
Because the important thing is We don't want people to stop getting psychological help. I know that if I was having problems, clinical depression, psychological problems, and I needed to go get help, but knew that if I went to talk to a psychologist, that they were talking about doing away with the HIPAA laws now. They're saying, oh, no, the psychologist has got to be able to tell people what they think to take guns away from. No. I'm going to say this. If 50 bobbies a year get killed because they get hit by cars because they're not wearing that yellow shit, the blue reflector tape. No, I don't give a fuck. That's how I live. That's how I feel. Some bobbies may die. Don't fuck up their uniform. Let them go out there looking like a bobby. Don't make them wear this. And so that's where I am with gun control. Some people will be shot with guns and killed that shouldn't have been. But the overwhelming good that they do is anyway. I feel like I'm rambling now because this is a big topic to me.
You're defending a point. Yeah, you're defending a point that we're not making, not in this stream anyway. But I am completely and utterly with you. That's why I say that the psychological evaluation needs to be by case evaluation. It cannot be done by a blanket law. It doesn't work like that. Everybody's an individual. I'd go completely against my principles by saying, yep, everybody that is a manic depressant can't have this. That makes no sense. Everybody has a different level of manic depression. Yes, there is in the title that you have manic depression, but there are different levels to it. There's different levels to bipolar. There are different levels as what we've just said before about schizophrenia and paranoid schizophrenia. For instance, they're completely two different fucking things to begin with, even though they sound the same. Schizophrenia is completely different to paranoid schizophrenia. Different chemicals in the brain that cause different problems. But that's the point. It's the fact that everything needs to be done on a case-by-case. Look at everybody, or at least most of the people that have shot and killed people in your country. It's a case that somebody knew, somebody had a feeling, somebody reported it. Some point didn't actually happen. The state didn't do what it was supposed to do to protect people, or the school didn't do something it was supposed to do. The people reported it. The state let the people down. Now, that doesn't take away the fact that the shooter was the kid that come around and shot everybody with somebody else, apparently. That doesn't take that away, but it's the fact that the state, if they were to do what they were fucking supposed to do, it wouldn't have fucking happened.
Yep.
Everybody did their job.
And I was going to type it out. Bollocks, it sounds like you have something to say just very quickly. No, Mad Dodge, if you were listening to me, I was saying that I don't believe in the mental checks. I don't believe in background checks. When they talk about the majority of Americans are for background checks, I'm one of them that is not. The background check I'm for is you're 18 years old, an American citizen. That's it. Oh, well, you've had a felony. I don't care. Are you in prison? No, you're not in prison. Well, people they want to forget that in this country, not very long ago, when you got out of prison, I don't care what you were in there for, the prison warden gave you back your guns and your horse on your way out. And why on earth are we taking people's rights away from? And just to make my point, forget about the guns, I guess. They take away the right to vote. What could a human being do that would make them lose their right to vote? I'm saying that even felons in prison should get an absentee ballot and should be filling it out. Every American citizen should be voting. So anyway, there you go. That's how crazy I am. I hope that answered your question too, Mad Dodge. No, I don't believe in background checks, period. I believe in freedom.
Well, I will answer that question quite quickly myself on that one, because I'm not 100% sure, but I think on the next one he says, please ask that, Ogre, so I assume it's towards me as well. So does everyone have to get a mental check before they get a gun? I thought they had to, in some form. They get a medical check, and if they have a point of mental deficiency or mental problem, then it would already be on the medical check because it would be part of your medical records. And then you'd have to explain what that is. But
no. In this country, we're free. We have HIPAA laws, and that means that they cannot share your medical information with law enforcement under any circumstances unless you tell them it's okay. So there's no way that the hospital can go and say, or that a psychiatrist, only if you tell the psychiatrist you are going to go hurt someone. That's the only caveat to that. So I know that probably sounds weird to you, though, common sense. So no, no,
not really. No. It makes perfectly good sense. It makes absolutely perfectly good sense. It makes common sense even. But I still think that if you're going to ask for a gun, that's a lot of responsibility. And I'm not trying to say, oh yeah, I want to take your freedoms away. I don't. I really, really don't. I just think that that form of legislation can quite easily just go into there and just slip in and not be a problem, and would stop people like this getting guns.
Is it as much responsibility as a car? Should we have to do a mental evaluation?
That's the reason why you have licenses. That's the reason why you can't drink and drive. That's the reason why you can't drug and drive. That's the reason why you have licenses with cars. The reason why you have insurances.
But I never did a mental evaluation before I got my license.
No, but you would have to have passed a quick, not a medical examination to a point, but you answer medical questions when you're filling out your license, do you not?
Just about
like, can you see this far?
Yeah, just
can you see this far? Do you have heart problems?
I've never been asked, have you ever considered driving your car into a crowded group of people on holiday? I've never been asked anything like that.
No, I understand that, but you've obviously been asked if do you have any mental deficiency? Well, not mental deficiency.
I guess the issue.
Let me change that.
Yeah.
You obviously would have been asked, do you have a heart problem? Do you have any sort of form of seizures? Do you black out often?
Oh, seizures, yes, but no heart problems. It would be the only questions that would be asked is are you epileptic? Do you have diabetes, because you can go into a coma? Anything that might have where you go into a seizure, grand mal, petit mal, or go into a coma. There are those questions on the license, yes. Yeah.
So that's what my point is. They're particular medical questions that actually come out and are relevant to the point of using the car. Now, the mental evaluation, yes, fair enough. It doesn't happen on the licensing.
But I've never been.
I do understand that.
Fill out any tests before I buy a hammer at Lowe's, and they kill more people than guns.
I understand that. I do understand that. I'm not trying to take anybody's right away from owning guns. I'm just trying to say that
the same argument, common sense. There's this massive responsibility, and it's this awesome power because you have a gun.
No, it's an equalizer.
I have many.
It's an equalizer. It's not power. It's equalizer.
They're more dangerous than a gun. In fact, it's anyway. I mean, I just don't get it. I don't get it. I think it comes a lot not from you, but it comes a lot from a place of not understanding most of these people, like Pierce Morgan. If you give them an AR-15 at a firing range and you let them start firing, they're like, oh, now I can see why people like guns. This is bloody fun. So, I mean, there's so many reasons to have a weapon, and it is not a huge responsibility. No bigger than having a car or a hammer or a box cutter. I think they hijacked the planes. The popular story is, you can see in my header on Twitter that I actually pushed the button. But the popular story is that they flew planes into the buildings on 9/11 and used box cutters. Shall we have a mental evaluation with box cutters? And I feel like I'm beating you up right now and just hammering.
No. You're not beating me up at all, and I'm quite happy to have the discussion. That's the whole point of having streams like this. It's not a case of just sitting there and going, yes, I agree with you completely, because that's the whole point of having 3 different people on a fucking panel. It's a case of people are going to disagree and people are going to agree. The only thing I would say about guns that are different to the different tools that you use, and that includes cars and things like that. The car's main purpose is to get you from A to B. The hammer's main purpose is to hammer in and out. The hacksaw is mainly to use to cut metal. The saw is mainly used to cut wood, so on and so forth. The gun itself is generally used to either have fun with, as in target practice, or it's used as a tool to make sure you're defending yourself or hunting. There is a slight difference.
Your life. If you want to end your life and your life just has become unbearable, it's a great way to do that quickly. That's another reason. And they add that into our numbers, common sense and bollocks.
I know they do. By about 30,000, they add it on top of about 30,000.
Yes. And I didn't know it was that number. I thought the number was 30,000 and it was 15, but it must be 60. And then 30 is, I know it's half or a little bit better. It's suicide.
No, it's about 3/4. No, it's about 3/4. It's about 3/4 that are suicides added on.
Yeah. I believe. Yeah, I'm sure you're right. And here's the thing: is everybody probably thinks I'm joking. I'm not. It's my life. This is my fucking life. If I want it to be over, it's over, and it's no one's business to tell me. They would want to put me in jail for attempted suicide. It's my life. We've lost sight that laws that are in place that don't stop anyone from being hurt are stupid laws that should not be followed. And if I wanted to end my life today, Well, folks, I'm not going to lie. I'm too big a coward to take hemlock. I hear it hurts. It's painful. I don't want to hang myself. What if I messed up and just broke my neck? If I was going to end my life,
that would be the best way, mate. If you were going to hang yourself,
it's over. That's it. That would be.
Yeah, but that's the reason why you hang yourself, is to actually break your neck on contact, so it snaps.
Yeah, that didn't work out. That didn't come out right. Yes.
But yeah, taking something like pills is absolute agony for the person. You're there for fucking hours, being sick, being absolute in agony, and everything else like that. So the fantasy that taking pills actually helps is a quiet way of going that you fall asleep and shit is fucking false. So don't ever fucking believe that. The same with slitting your wrists in a fucking bathtub. That's the same thing. You won't end up being happy when you're doing it. It's a case of you're slitting your wrist, you're in pain, you've got lots of blood coming out, you're going to panic. It's not the best way, but yeah, pulling the trigger, yeah, it's not a bad way to end your life and things like that. It could be used as a tool on that point. But that's the point that I was meaning. I know you could take a hammer to yourself instead, or you could use a screwdriver or a pencil or whatever. But that's the point. It's a case of just pulling a trigger. It's that easy to end somebody's life. Now, it does sound like I'm trying to fuck with everybody's freedom of being able to get with a gun. I'm really not. I'm just trying to say that there is a slight difference between a hammer and a gun. I'm not trying to say that means that it's any less of a threat, because it's not. You can still kill people with it.
Oh, and it'd
it's
be
just
so
a case you can't kill as many.
Not to die by being beaten to death. I'd much rather be shot. But yes, there is a difference, and it's the difference that society. This is one time, gentlemen, and Bollocks, he's probably just wondering when the fuck we're going to stop talking about this, and it's going to be very soon. Bollocks, just hang in there. But this is the one time where social construct is a reality. Because male and female is not a social construct. Look at me. I mean, if you put Mrs. Ogre next to me, you can see that there is a huge difference between males and females, even when they're not undressed. But
and Magic Bollocks would talk as well.
But yes, but she's not here right now, Bollocks. So please don't bust my balls. She would come and say hi if she was home. She loves you very much and hopes to see you soon. But I just have to be careful because the cuck thing, and I'm no cuck. I would anyway. So here we go. I don't share my wife, is what I'm trying to tell you. But what is the difference between a gun and a hammer? The only difference is what society puts on it. This is where a social construct is a real thing. There is no difference, common sense, except that a hammer would be a much more brutal way to die. You would have to be a more brutal human being to get. I've heard it termed wet work when you're using a knife or a hammer or a hack, some kind of bludgeon or tool or staff or stick, because you're there. One whack don't do it. One stab don't generally do it. You're stabbing and slashing and whacking and banging. And so when we compare these things, a gun is much more humane. A gun, to me, is, in reality, what they tried to make the lightsaber in Star Wars. It's a gentlemanly tool. In the old days, we have a big problem. We go out and we cut each other to ribbons with a sword. As human beings progressed, the duel still was there, but the duel consisted of two gentlemen going out, picking their firearm, pacing off, and boom, they got 2 shots as a rule. If you didn't kill the person, and I could go on and on. It's an upgrade on society. It's a good thing. And I'm going to say this. I've already given more than my final words. I've already said my opinions in 50 different ways. No one out there is wondering what I think. So I want to start with you, Common Sense, because you and I have been talking, and then I really would like to have Magic Bollocks give the last fucking word. That's for you and I. And when he says whatever he says, I don't care what it is, we'll call this case closed and move on to our next stories, because we do have 3 more, and we're going to cover them even if it's abridged. So give us, tell us what you think, Common, and we'll move on that way.
To be honest, I know I've been talking about, maybe this legislation, maybe that legislation might work. To be honest, if I'm being as an honest opinion to myself, there's not much that would change this, apart from the state actually acting on what the people was telling it. So, as I said before, the kids telling the school that he was acting weird, the school expelling him for erratic behaviour. Do you not think that it would have been a good idea for him to go to a counselling session at that point? Just to be trying to find out what's going on. And the fact that then he was told and actually phoned up the FBI himself to say that I'm going to go kill people. Surely at that point, that was the last fucking point. Probably don't get too many people actually phoning up, probably sort of half being hysterical as saying it as well and meaning it, because obviously they're fucking trained for that sort of shit as well, so they'll be able to know that I'm going to go kill people. It might be a good idea for you to stop me. That was a cry for help. Surely the FBI should have actually looked at that, analysed it, and gone, yeah, probably need to do something. Yeah, you do need to do something, FBI. Stop fucking looking at Russia collusion and actually fucking protect your citizens.
It was very nicely said. If I was going to say anything on this, it would be that I was listening very interestingly to you boys talking about, you know, the supposed mental health of this kid. I mean, obviously, he must be fucked up anyway to do what he did, because anybody with any sense of empathy can't just open fire on a crowd of people they don't know and not care. I mean, that's sociopathic at minimum, or full-blown psychopath at worst. So the fact that nobody's actually, you know, he's not been diagnosed up to this point is very worrying. Now, I know from my own point of view is that getting diagnosed with any form of mental illness is not easy. And I'm just coming from in, you know, this country, because I've probably been bipolar or ish, whatever I've got, since I was a teenager, but I didn't get diagnosed until I was in my late 20s. And it was only really my own pushing it that I finally get to see the right doctor who actually sat me down and talked to me about, you know, what my problems were, and then actually gave me a name to what was supposedly wrong with me. And I think mental health is still one of those illnesses that's, I mean, it's better than it used to be, but it's still pretty wank with the attitude that's taken towards it. And I can understand why, because it's something that's easily faked. It's something that some people still don't believe actually exists. And also, just like with a lot of things, there just isn't enough money in it. And a lot of the times, the only way people can help themselves is to actually do it themselves. And obviously, this kid had a bit of a messed up life anyway. He was an orphan. You know, the family he came from seemed to be quite messed up anyway. So I don't know. It's easy just to say, you know, people missed the warning signs. They didn't do this. They didn't do that. But how many other people slipped through the net? That's the only question I would ask. There's never going to be a perfect system, because if you have everybody being monitored for potential psychopathic tendencies, again, you're going to be violating people's privacy, aren't you? So I don't know. There's no real easy answer to this one. I don't believe in interfering with the Americans' constitutional rights. The very fact they want to take their guns away from them is very suspect. I think they should just let them do what they want. You know, if they want to blow up two skyscrapers, or they just want to, you know, use a gun for ending their own life, that's entirely up to them. As long as they don't shoot me.
Yes. Wonderful. Well said, Magic Bollocks. And one of you boys, I think Common Sense Guy, you know the next story. One of y'all get the next story up if you want to take the lead on it. And I'll do this while you're getting ready. Common, whichever one. I think we'll go with number 2, whatever one. I don't care which one you get next. Doesn't matter. I just want to encourage everyone to swing on over to the Discord. You will find the picture of the day that's there for memeing. And I just wanted to share some of these wonderful memes with you that I've gotten. I believe Bollocks may have made this one. Oh, this was a great one. I think Moe's. I don't know. I'm not even going to try to tell you who made them, because it's very difficult to keep track anymore. I'm honored that the amount of memes coming in is increasing. This is one of my favorite ones right here. And I just want to say again, thank you so much for everyone that's taken part in it. It makes me feel so good. You know, I'm not the only one. It makes people happy. This one definitely comes from Moe's. And you can see he's watching us there. Memes of Destruction is up on the screen. Oh, wait, what did I do here? I should be able to, there we go, there it is. Switch back and forth. This is another good one. I mean, they're all good. I won't just keep saying that, but you can see, I mean, they were putting my face and my body from, oh, I can't linger too long on this one. I got to move along from that one. And yes, this is a good one. Very good. They're all good. I think that might have been Memes of Destruction. Got a meme from Memes of Destruction. Too long to let you read everything, but it's great. I believe Magic Balls. Somebody did this one. Good one.
Yeah,
all these are so good. Very good. Fun stuff too. Remember that now I may not be able to show all of them on air, depending upon what you decide to make the subject matter. I may have to, if I do show it, as I did just one recent, go by very quickly. But this is JJ Soda Rock. He was showing what I'd look like without a beard. I thought that was hilarious. So anyway, take time, go by Discord. Lord Quinn runs a really nice tight ship over there. And you can see, I'm trying to show these to let you know that, I mean, this was putting me as Osama bin Laden. There's nothing is off limits. Nothing will hurt my feelings. In fact, that's the whole reason to do this, is to show that it's the best thing in life is to have it. This is greatest from The Voice. I won't forget that. That's freaking hilarious. I don't care who you are. That's just pure comedy. Yeah, there's nothing's off limits. Nothing's sacred. Yeah, I think this is one of Common Sense Guy's favorite ones. Because if you listen, I just want to say, if you meet a trap that looks like that in the face, you got a problem, man. You've had too much booze. So there you go. I think I give whoever probably common sense enough time. And boys, yeah. I'll jump on the back of the train this time. If you want to start us off with the next story, I'll listen to what Bollocks has to say and try to bring up the tail end of this one.
No problem. First of all, no, I was going to say something, but I completely not forgot. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go on to, well, story number one, because as much as I think Jennifer Lawrence is absolutely sexy as, I don't think that she's going to fix fucking anything. So Jennifer Lawrence says she will take a break from acting to fix our democracy. So Hunger Games star Lawrence revealed her plans. Wow, reading, not great. While promoting her latest movie, Red Sparrow, which she's actually a Russian spy in that, by the way. Sharing with Entertainment Tonight her ambitions to fix democracy in America while she takes a Hollywood hiatus. I'm going to take the next year off, Lawrence outlined. I'm going to be working with organizations as part of anti-corruption organization, Represent Us, trying to get young people engaged in political on a local level. It doesn't have anything to do with partisan politics. It's just anti-corruption and stuff trying to pass state-by-state laws that can help prevent corruption, fix our democracy. Her decision isn't out of the ordinary for the Oscar winner, who has taken more of a political standpoint in recent years, and her most best and favorite one, Mother Nature is attacking you for hating the gays.
What the fuck? I'm sorry.
Well, that's what it was when she was saying about fucking
what was lost her mind. I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to pipe up right now. She lost her fucking mind.
I don't think I really need to read on, to be fair. She's taking a hiatus from Hollywood because she wants to fix Hollywood for the anti-corruption that apparently is going on. So in other words, she's trying to go to the Republican side and going, I'm going to fix your corruption. Don't worry about the Democrats, they're fine.
I love that. She says she's going to fix democracy. I bet she can't even fucking spell it.
The funny thing is, it's not technically a democracy. It's a fucking republic.
Yeah. That's the greatest irony, isn't it? They don't even know what their own political system is. But have you noticed a few of them have actually come out and started saying all this shit, that they're going to help, fight Trump and, support democracy. And they didn't complain about the actual federal system when Obama was getting elected, did they? They didn't say, oh, this system doesn't work anymore. We need to change it. How did this fucking black geezer get on the throne? But I actually wonder, is it because since the man who probably made her famous in the first place, Mr. Weinstein, is no longer in the business of holding auditions on the casting couch, maybe things are starting to dry up a little bit. Maybe people have started to discover that acting like a block of fucking wood doesn't necessarily get you anywhere unless you're fucking Weinstein. So is this really I'm going on a hiatus, or I'm not actually getting any offers?
I think it's more of a case that she is that fucking deluded. She actually thinks that she's going to help people. I mean, do you remember last year when Robert De Niro was saying, "Oh, Donald Trump's an absolute sex pest"? Now, I don't know if this is true because I haven't been able to confirm it, but I have seen rumblings around Twitter and a couple of news outlets that actually he was involved in some sort of paedophile ring. Now, don't quote me on that. I'm not 100% sure. Google it and have a look for yourselves. But I have seen it going around Twitter.
I think there's still a lot more to come out of Hollywood yet. And I'm sure before old Trump's reign is over, a lot more is going to come out. A lot more high profile, even producers, actors, whatever, are going to be in some serious shit. And
they're
few of them
sacrificing their own that have done petty little things. Look, Stormy Daniels. Everybody know who she is? She has ramped up her adult entertainment tour to the nth. And she just came out and said, "No, I never had any sexual relationship with Trump. It was just a." She's came out and said it, and they still use her as an example. I would go back to Judge Moore and oh shit, I think you were still talking bollocks, but holy fuck. You know what, lads? If the three of us got together like we are and we actually got famous, which Lord knows, I don't think any of the three of us really want that. But if something happened and it just boom overnight, fuck, who knows? And next thing you know, we're the bloody Beatles getting I don't know about you lads, but I don't think my past could stand up to that kind of scrutiny.
Mine could. Mine would be fine. Mine would be fine because you know why? I am who the fuck I am, and if you want to bring up my past, well, yeah, that defines me as who I am, motherfucker. You got a problem with that? Move the fuck on.
Cheers that.
Well, that's the big mistake everybody makes these days, don't they? When everything's brought up about their past, they always apologize. If somebody brought up my past and said, "Oh, well, this ex-girlfriend of you claims that you did something to her," I said, "I don't give a shit. So fucking what? You're trying to make out the celebrity has to be a golden child, must have never done something wrong? Fuck off."
Yeah, you look him right in the eye and you say, "She told you that?" Well, that's not half as bad as it really was.
I said, you should have spoke to her asshole because less fucking shit comes out of it.
Do you know what I find really interesting about this story? The fact that somebody like Jennifer Lawrence has come out and said, "I'm going to deal with the corruption in politics, in government." Why wouldn't you deal with the fact that there's corruption in fucking Hollywood? Why wouldn't you tackle that fucking beast? If you're going to really take a hiatus and try and help get rid of the fucking corruption in the government and whatever, why wouldn't you deal with the fact of your own businesses first? I mean, we all heard the expression, "Make sure your house is in order before you do it to somebody else," right? So why wouldn't you go after your own corruption first and deal with the industry you know, rather than attack an industry you don't know yet?
And who is she to talk? It's not like she would send nudes with her phone to people for them to look at or anything like that.
I'll pay. Sorry.
Just act like nothing happened, okay? Just act like nothing happened. Because and then I had to double check, but yes, that's genuine. And so you got these people, they talk all this shit. But then, of course, if I've been asked to send parts of me, pictures of my anatomy to people, and I do it, well, then I'm an evil, horrible, terrible, bad person, right? No, I don't think so, by the way. But then she does it, it's okay.
Not unless you start swinging it around off air on a hangout.
Hey, I was asked. I know.
Yeah,
but I do like the way that you said that. It's finally getting through. It was off air on a personal hangout. Thank you very much for that.
Okay. Mr. Ogre, can you please dangle your privates on camera, please?
No, I'm not near drunk enough yet. If I gotta be pissed as a fart to pull some shit like that.
Now that will be tomorrow's meme.
Yes, yeah. And
who needs a helicopter?
Yeah. And we're gonna, oh man, and the Reaper is just killing it. He's on our channel right now. I don't know if he's out here in the chat under another name or something, but Reaper of Butts, man, Reaper 4131. He's something else, man. I'd like to get this guy on the show. I'm actually gonna send him just an individual for this. I don't know why, because I'm not sure that he would be down for just like talking serious shit about politics, but we're pretty much off that now anyway. I'm going to say this, lads, because I did pipe in here a little bit. I'm going back to what we talked about ad nauseum. She's a fucking actress, okay? Okay? It doesn't matter what she thinks, all right? Probably the reason I'm motivated for this meme thing. It's something that come into my mind. No, it's good. When I look at you were saying something earlier, Magic, about because yes, it had to do with ties in with Count Dankula and how I respect him and that I love that he can laugh at himself to the utmost, man. I mean, it's like there's nothing you can really present to that guy and he's gonna go, really? You did that with my face? Ain't gonna happen. He don't give a shit what you do with his face because you can't really affect him or who he is or Sue Hulk or his life. He's already getting fucking prosecuted for making a joke. How can you make his life any worse? Yeah. So anyway, yeah, so check out the Discord, as I always ask, as we get ready to go on to another story or wrap this one up, because that's all I got to say about this. She's a fucking actress. She's an actress that is not above sending nudes of herself, and I must say, man, she's yeah,
damn hot. I mean, yeah, she's fine.
She looks great with her clothes off. Nice little poo nanny there. I mean, she shaves it up like really nice and trimmed up there. Good job, Jennifer Lawrence. I would eat that biscuit just like it was fucking tea time.
Yeah, but the thing is, you have to
right,
think of it
Mr.
Like
oh, sorry. I was thinking that. I didn't know I said that. I was thinking that.
Yeah, it's a case of, to me, she's like somebody giving me a brand new Lamborghini and not having any fucking engine in the front. Because, yeah, it's nice to look at, but don't even ask it any questions.
Yeah, no.
I'd be surprised if it's just drools.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, that's the reason why we have sex bots. Fuck, we don't yet. We should get on that.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, mate, they probably make less wooden actresses.
And yes, sir, for
wooden.
Just like a bowling ball. That would be nice. It's that, and that's what they say why they put the butthole and the vagina so close together. It's so you can carry your lass around like a 6-pack of beer.
That's right.
So anyway. That's probably sold. Nobody gets it. Does anybody even drink 6-packs anymore? Do they do that thing? Didn't they outlaw the little plastic things? I don't know. I don't
no, we have mostly 4-packs. We can still get 6-packs, but most people will buy 2 4-packs or something like that, or a 12 case or a 24 case.
Oh, yes, but your 4-packs are 16 ounces, right?
Yeah, they're basically pints. Basically, right. Not always, but they are basically pints.
Yeah. Yeah, which would be a 6-pack. That would be equivalent to a 6-pack.
Fair enough.
I don't know what the fuck we're talking about. Let's shit post a little bit, boys. I'm looking at the time, and we only got about another.
Hang on a minute before we move forward. Crumple Point has made an exceptionally great point, and I need to put this out there. He's put all super chats now going towards Common Sense Guys Cyber Sex Doll Laboratory.
Yes, now but don't send me super chats. I'm still waiting for him to send me the money. I did fill out the thing, and I don't really know. I think I'm probably going to turn it off as soon as I get the actual money that y'all have been so kind to send to Common Sense Guy. I'm probably going to turn it off. So my suggestion is, if you look
PayPal me that shit.
Just give it right to the PayPal. Common Sense Guy PayPal is fine. I'm going to start tweeting that out, texting that out in the beginning, and we'll go that route because this thing, they're screwing us, folks. They're screwing us because when you give us money, they're taking 18%, 18 cents off the dollar right off the bat. And then the shit that I've had to go through. And let's face it, you're here for these streams. How long do you think it's going to be before they actually make it so we couldn't get a dime out of them if we wanted to?
Yeah,
I don't think it'll be that long. And I don't know. I was listening to Medicure, and I don't want to really segue into that, but the whole blood sport thing. I don't
mind segueing into that. That's actually not a bad little.
Well, because I was asked, Bollocks was asking me earlier today, Common Sense, about what I thought about the blood sport, and I know it was in private, Bollocks. So if I'm going out, I don't think I am, but if I am, just let me know, and I can shut up anytime. But you know, what I thought about it, had I ever been invited onto streams? Yes, I've been invited on Worski. Never went there, but I've been invited on the Morning Kumite. Went to Cognitive Thoughts channel and to Tonka Saw's channel, and went through the whole rigmarole. You know, when Algonquin Indians, that's from where I'm at. Algonquins were up here in Michigan. They were the Blackfeet. They were in fact, Algonquins stretched pretty far. The Sioux weren't included in Algonquins, but they were tough. They were a tough lot. When you became, because iron was so important to them, iron ore comes from here, but they didn't know how to smelt it. And then when the white people came here, they actually screwed them hardcore. They would buy whole sections of land for an iron pot because they know how to make it. And let's face it, if all you've got is bone and wood, iron pot would be very handy. So they made swords, to make a long story short. So the last major rite of passage for Algonquin lads, there would be 2 lines of braves with swords, and they would go, and they paid the drums would be going boom, 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 because every time it went boom, they dropped this hand and raised this one, drop this hand and raise that one, and the brave would run through this gauntlet. It would run through this line. Some of them died. It was very rare. Almost all of them got hurt severely, and very few made it out hardly hurt. No one that I know in history ever made it through this meat grinder unscathed. We have become a load of pussies. We have become, and what it is we're trying to make up, and I'll pass it off right now, boys. We're trying to make up for the fact that Common Sense Guy and Bollocks and I never did do the Spartan thing and fight 10 of our betters at once, knowing we're going to lose. Sometimes these street gangs get a little bit of it right. Yes, they get a little bit of it right when they have the initiation in, and it looks to us like, wow, that's so terrible. No, these are children without a father, without a role model, that are going through rites of passage that are so ancient, that are so ingrained in the manly mesh that makes up your mortal soul. And we're overlooking these things. And so now we need these other avenues. Now, I think that the 3 of us can come up with something that is similar but better. And I mean, I'll answer that, why I say that or whatever. What do you boys think?
Me personally, I'm not really interested in blood sports. I don't even like the idea of watching it. I mean, I used to as a regular thing. Now, this is my opinion. I'm sure that a lot of other people are more happy to watch Andy Channel now than what they used to be. But I remember Mr. Metica saying in his latest blood sports video that, oh, it's just for entertainment. I remember Andy coming out at the beginning when he said he was going to do his Andy Worski live show, and he was going to do it for the conversation. He was going to take it to the point where he was going to have people on the show because nobody was talking about it, and he wanted to have the conversations nobody else would. And I really, if I would have had an actual laptop that was working and everything else like that at this moment in time, I would have done a video on that just to prove Medica wrong on that point. Because that's exactly what Andy said. He wanted to do a channel to be able to do free speech and be able to bring people on and have an open Discord with everybody, not blood sports. Now, don't get me wrong, he's become really good friends with Tonka Saw, and he's now gone into this idea of drama and everything else like that. That's up to him. In my opinion, I like what V's response was. If they're going to go down the blood sports route, I'd much rather do what V said. I'd much rather have a political debate of having one person on one side, there's somebody in the centre, and somebody on the left, or opposing ideology, whatever. I'd rather have it like that, because you learn more from that than you do from people just fucking shouting at each other. Yeah, fair enough. It's a Jerry Springer type of show. I get it. I understand what the entertainment value is. But if I wanted to,
he showed up. Common sense. We got to catch him up. We will catch him up with us. But this is Reaper of Butts, man. This is the so. Look, if you can just be cool just for another second. Thank you so much for swinging by, and we'll give a proper introduction and get you caught up on the conversation. So when you're done, Common Sense, if you want to catch him up on what we're talking about, I'm sure he'll have an opinion on this topic right here.
Yeah, that's not a problem. I mean, what we're talking about at this moment in time is we're talking about the opinion of, do we like the idea of Andy Warski's blood sports and the Morning Kumité's blood sports, or like what I'm saying, do we like the idea of doing it V's way and having the old style of a political debate where you have one on each side and you actually talk about it?
Well, it's like you're either talking shit or you're debating. There's no in between. Blood sports is in between, basically. Like, if I wanted to watch a shit show, I'd go on CNN.
I think the problem with them is it's just that it's Jerry Springer but politicized, isn't it? And the two don't really mix. It's supposed to be entertainment, like you said. So why didn't you just get a couple of fucking idiots to shout at each other rather than people who are supposed to be intellects?
It's
I thought they did that on Andy's channel.
Chocolate in your fucking toothpaste. It's meant to serve a purpose. Now it tastes like shit.
Damn.
Yeah.
So in other words, a good shit show to you isn't necessarily watching Tonka Saw do his thing with the failure and whatnot. It's all you got to do is turn on MSNBC and watch.
Yeah, basically. Okay. If you want to watch retards being retards, fine. But if you retards having a political debate, what's the point of that?
I suppose it's because if you turn on the mainstream these days, there's a 95% chance they won't be talking about anything except fucking Donald Trump.
Yeah. It's like on Twitter, I said, Internet Blood Sports is basically taking a microphone and putting it in the short bus and listening to them talk about Lightning McQueen stickers.
To be fair, you make an exceptionally great point. Now, I'm not trying to pick different bits out of Andy's show, but that guy that he's talking about, Tommy or whatever, I don't know what the beef is between them, and I don't really give a fucking shit about it either.
Part of the debated podcast, but then he left it because Keemstar fucked shit up.
Yeah, fair enough. Like I said, I knew there was some sort of beef, but I really don't give a shit about it. But it's a case that, and by the way, thank you for letting everybody know what was actually going on, because I'm not always informed. But it's the fact that Andy was saying, oh, I'm going to tell these 2,000 people that I'm going to lie about him and do this. It's just like, okay, I thought you were doing something to actually have a conversation. If I wanted to watch a 5-year-old trying to take a piss out of a child, I'd go back to fucking preschool.
So they're basically taking the lesser of e-celebs who had a slight opinion on it, and they're going to try tearing them down for it.
Yeah, just because you got a fucking massive channel compared to him, yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't have the defense of a podcast anymore now that Tommy C's all on his own.
Yeah.
I like Tommy myself. I mean, and there's good things that come from the Kumite. I'm not a big fan of Tonka Saw. I don't know. We don't know each other really well, Reaper, but I've been through some shit with him and got kind of weird doxes from, and it doesn't matter. I shouldn't have said dox. Some weird shit happened. In the long run, I don't like the fucking cocksucker, but that's fine. King Carl. I love King Carl.
Like,
and I'm kind of hooked on his little channel, man.
The problem is a lot of people I like associate with him, so I mostly just try to keep my shit talking directed directly at him.
Yeah. Who, Carl or Tonka?
Tonka. Fuck him.
Yeah. Yeah, Tonka's something. I really, and you know what the truth is this is cyber world. I don't have no problem with any of these people because I don't know them. It's just I guess I'm on a different page. I like to watch. I like to listen to two nerds argue about shit they don't really know about. You know, the whole idea of, and because to me it's instead I don't have David Gergen looking at me on fucking CNN telling me what I should think about politics, because I'm with you. I mean, if I want to see a shit show, all I got to do is turn on Tucker Carlson. I can see all the fucking bullshit I want to see.
Yeah. I just wanted to quit.
You got a tough guy acting like he can beat you up, and when in reality he's got the neck of a fucking paper mache, and he has the arms of spaghetti.
I'm sorry, I don't agree with that. I think Tucker's a very respectable man.
Like, no, I'm talking about Tonka. I'm saying you could flick this guy and probably break his neck.
He's talking Tonka. He did break his neck doing a fake bullshit sport called.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. When he was doing his fucking backyard wrestling that he considers pro.
Yeah, he did it. He broke his bloody neck.
From what I hear, that shit really fucked him up for life.
Oh,
I can imagine.
Too bad. I'd like to take a shit on his face and maybe make him feel better.
Well, I just wanted to add to this that I know that after Six Axel Hammer did the debate with Andy Worski, about 2 or 3 days later, you can go to the Thomas Ellington channel for this bit if you wanted to go up and have a look at it.
Yes.
Yeah, very good channel. Very good channel. You can go to this bit, and Tonkasar and the Morning Kumite basically fucking called Six Axel Hammer a paedophile without having any fucking proof whatsoever. And actually run with the whole fucking thing until Six Axel Hammer comes on and basically says, I don't mind you shit posting and things like that, but don't tell me it's fucking truth. And actually got him to actually apologize on fucking air for lying.
Yeah, and that's not
if somebody's
something
going to do
about. That's really
exactly.
in my book.
Exactly, but if you're going to be able to try and push that sort of fucking narrative just to fucking get drama on your channel, what other shit are you fucking doing?
You're fucked up. No, I kind of like your sense of humor, Reaper of Butts. I'm glad you're here. You know, I follow you on Twitter, and
the shit I post.
There's a difference between where you find, and look, I'm all for every kind of humor. I'm including Tonkas and all of these. I don't look. It's comedy. And if I don't like it, I can fuck off, which is what I do, and go find my comedy somewhere else. I do not think there should be any censorship in it. But what I'm saying is, you find what is it that makes someone okay? Let me just try to ask this as straight as I can. I have noticed that you don't go for targets. It doesn't seem like you focus on individuals. In other words, when this whole topic came up, you went right away and you were like, well, look at CNN. What is it that separates? And I'm trying to not put you in a position to like puff up and say, yeah, I'm so much smarter. But is it an academic sense? Is it somewhat of a mental state that where you don't look for these victims, low-hanging fruit, whatever you want to call it? What is it that separates a comedian of your type or a Count Dankula? I put you in there. To me, you and Count Dankula are the same guy, just one's in Scotland and one's in America. What is it that separates you from a Tonkasal?
Well, it's like you actually trying to make people laugh without just being a dickhead. If you had to be a dickhead for a purpose. If there's no joke and you're just being like a comedic asshole, what's the point? I've never seen Tonka actually try to be funny. He just like such an asshole. It is funny, pretty much. Like you're being a dickhead and you're laughing at the fact of his behavior. You're not laughing at any jokes he's made.
Yeah. Well, I was a little upset when you changed your header. You had a cartoon. Oh man, I don't know. It was cartoon pornography. Cartoon's not really the right word either. It was.
What was the header again? Because I changed my shit a lot.
Yeah, you had a. Yeah, now I just said I'm sorry you changed it. I can't even describe it. There was a penis involved in it.
A penis.
Yes, and you.
I'm trying to think of which one that is.
Yeah, and try to because you had one with a mouth that looked like it was blown out, and then there was. I like the header that you had with the I can't even because you do change them a lot. No, it was the one with the pornography, the drawn pornography in it. It actually had a penis. Let me show you why too, because that was so disjointed and fucked up. It was like why he just wanted to say penis. But now let me show you. Let me show you one of my favorite pictures right here.
I'm trying to think of one because I don't remember having one with a penis in it.
Oh, I mean, maybe it was a vagina. Wasn't it a flying? There was a flying person in.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about.
I showed my wife, and it was like fuck, but it was up so long that it became commonplace, and now I can't pull the image back up in my head. Yes,
I just posted on Twitter. Let's see if this is it.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, this is getting weird. But that's it. That's the one. I told you there was a penis.
That was my header. That was my header.
Yeah, I was like, dude, I told my old lady, I was like, Jen, look at this. Mrs. Ogre, if that's not the fucking weirdest thing you've ever seen, tell me what is. That's comedy. I can show that. You did it on Twitter. This is what we're talking about, people. I mean, it's not
like some ye old fucking scribe drawing.
Yes. It's not like flat out, XXX pornography. It's just funny. It's like a flying girl in the air with a penis in her mouth.
You got like a slight shading of a ding dong and some balls.
That is half a spit roast, isn't it?
It's half a spit roast, yes.
Yeah.
And it's also it's defying the laws of physics. Well, look, I got you on here, Reaper of Butts. I know that you'll come on now. I'd like to schedule a time where you can. We're going to wrap it up probably by 5:30 because we got Magic Bollocks that has a day job. But what we do on this show, even though this end part, and it's my fault, I had you come on here and we had a plan. I bring you on and it's all a fucking fucked up shit show because everything I do turns to shit. What I'm trying to say is what we do is when we end, we all give our 2 cents. Don't matter what it's about, Reaper. It sounds like you have no problem talking. No one will interrupt you. No one will comment on what you say after. We just call it the final word. And that's what we're going to do right now. Before I do, though, I would like to give the boys a chance to either ask you something or if there's something we missed today, gentlemen. I know this was abrupt.
Yeah, the Tonka question was kind of confusing because I don't really think about him at all. All I think is he's a dickhead. That's the most I think about this nigga.
Yeah, and I wasn't trying to confuse you. I just wanted you to try to tell the audience what is the difference between a Bill Burr and a what's the fat girl's name? The blonde fat girl, Schumer, and Amy Schumer. I mean, and to me, Amy Schumer would represent Tonka Saw, and then Bill Burr would represent you in this situation. Somebody that's actually funny and goes after the big things. That's not like an individual that's smaller than them or weaker than them. Not the coyote of comedy, if you will.
I'd like to be seen as a Bill Hicks, and I'd see him as a Carlos Mencia, basically.
Oh, anybody that don't follow comedy, you know what? Mencia is a joke thief.
He literally stole his entire career.
Yes, and Bill Hicks is a god of comedy. Forever.
Like he was dying of cancer, and he just started smoking again.
Yep. Oh, I love that. That was one of my favorite parts of his gig where he'd be like, oh, it's a non-smoking place. It's fucking blah, blah, blah. And then he'd be like, pull out his Marlboros.
You know there's an actual conspiracy theory that Alex Jones is Bill Hicks?
Yes, I know it, but it's bullshit.
It's funny because they actually came both from the same studio at the same time he died.
Their fucking moms know each other. Bill Hicks' mom knows Jones' mom. They've actually Bill Hicks' mom did a little thing about it, made a joke about it.
Alex Jones is really fucking pissed off if you mention it. It's hilarious.
Yeah, well, because Alex Jones, I love Alex. I watch his show pretty often. I like David Knight a little bit better. It's neither here nor there. But Bill Hicks was light years smarter, funnier.
Oh yeah,
everything.
There was much more about the Illuminati. To his comedy. Alex Jones is all memes.
Yeah, say thank you. And in truth, I mean, if you remember, Bill Hicks went to Waco, man. He went to Waco when they were doing the shit, and fucking, you know, he was a comedian, but he was a real guy. I think. You know, I'm one of these weirdos that really believe, and I'm supposed to be ending this. Bollocks has got to get the fuck out of here. He'll stay here because he's kick ass as long as I'm here, and I'm ruining his life right now as we speak. But Bill Hicks was a real guy. I believe he was fucking killed, man. I maybe not, but in my heart of hearts, he was so popular in England and the UK, and he was starting to really, really explode. And eventually what he was saying was going to come out, and they didn't want it. I think they gave him the serum that gives you, the pancreatic.
I got something I think you'll like.
There he is. You're so handsome.
George Carlin.
Fuck yeah. Let me share it with you there.
Vinyl.
You know, he went straight to fucking hell when he died, man. Straight to fucking hell. Not even no 200 quid, fucking straight to fucking
This
hell.
Man from the fucking earliest age to his dying death was a fucking comedian.
I love the guy. And you probably know this, seeing as how you have a vinyl of him. He was the first comedian on Saturday Night Live. The very first.
Oh, yeah. I actually saw on YouTube they have the black and white stand-up bits he used to do.
Oh, he was something. I was young, but I remember the 7 words. And, I remember hearing them on the radio when I was very young. And, boy, my mom hated George Carlin. So, of course, my brother and I got a record the next day.
Growing up, I was kind of sheltered from a lot of that shit. So I only found out about him on YouTube.
Oh, well, my parents tried. But, the funny thing about trying to shelter your children, parents, if you're out there listening to anybody, I doubt it. Don't do that because they're just going to get into worse shit.
Yeah.
Help them understand things. All right, so here it is. Look, Common Sense Guy's pissed off. Magic Box is falling asleep. We got to wrap it up. So I'm going to call on you, Reaper. You got 5 minutes to say whatever you want. It can be about Tonk. It can be, if I say too much about what it can be about, I'll put ideas in your head.
I mean, you guys can ask me questions, but I'm the person where I don't got much to say.
Yes, and that's fine. So that said, you got 5 minutes to say anything you want. It could be fuck you, Ogre, for putting me on this, but it could be anything. And then we'll go along, and we know the order, lads, by now. Thank you so much for being here, mates. If I don't get a chance to say it in my wrap-up, I've got one, but it's not the longest. Magic Bollocks, you're second to none. Common Sense Guy, don't know what I'd do without you. I do believe, once again, we displayed today what it is with mates get together and have a ding-dong. Can do it and not hate each other at the end and just have fun with it. So you all are second. So we'll do that. And there, look, I give you plenty of time, Reaper. I see that thing.
He's a record player.
Yep. It's on you, man. If you want to give us a tour of your room and tell us about yourself, you got 5 minutes. And
I got this short-ass webcam, so it ain't got much of anywhere. My CDs, got them wooden radios. Computer. You can see yourself. I don't know. I just collect a lot of media. Fucking music, games, computers, all that crap. Got my Sega Dreamcast, my fucking GameCube. Got the original Xbox. I actually got a Magnavox Odyssey and shit. I don't know. If you guys got questions, I don't really got much to say right now.
Rock and
Do you
roll.
have a YouTube channel?
My YouTube channel, I had that shit since 2009. Didn't really start doing shit until 2015. It's mostly shit posting with a purpose. That's how I describe it.
So what type? I know you said it's shit posting with a purpose, but what type of videos do you do, or do you not do videos?
Sometimes I do anti-SJW videos. Other ones. I have a series called Dramatic Readings where I take songs and do them in comedic voices with funny music.
Yes, you'll love Magic Bollocks. In fact, that's the first thing when he asked what you do. That's the first thing that popped up into mind.
Yeah.
Because we've talked about it. I'm not sure I'd be very good at that. I do music, but I'm not sure I could pull off like pretending to be someone's voice while I sang.
It's not singing. It's like taking the lyrics and reading them dramatically, like it's a poem or something.
Sorry, right. It's a dramatic reading in the style of a particular famous person's set to lyrics. Magic Bollocks, though, you might actually love that. I'll send you a couple of examples of his stuff. I think you'd at least find it hilarious.
I think the best one in terms of actually sounding like something is the Cannibal Corpse one. It actually sounds like a poem.
Yes, and we've already deviated. We'll ask you some questions, and next time you've displayed that you weren't bullshit, and you're not just going to be one to sit there and give your final. So we'll give you an example of what we mean by that by doing this. Thank you so much for being here, Reaper. I can't believe you just popped on spur of the moment. As strange as it may sound, you're kind of famous to me because I follow you on Twitter, and I love your shit. I kind of look up to you and your comedy. So there you go, Magic Bollocks. Take it away. Show him how it's done.
Well, he's not going first.
He just
he went, mate. He went.
Yes, that was his go. That's what I was saying. I don't want to mock the guy because he's funny. When we get to know him more, we'll make.
Whoa! When I had to do my first one, I at least had to get naked.
That was off air.
That's not the point, you fuckers. I knew that was a stitch up. Right.
Oh Lord.
Right. If we're going to go over what we've been talking about tonight, it's a simple case of 1, don't bring up guns around Mr. Ogre. You'll be there forever. 2, don't try and take the guns off the Americans because you'll get shot. And 3, if you think that Jennifer Lawrence is worthy of sexual intercourse, then by all means, probably go for the jihadi route of sexual abuse, because then at least you won't have to have a conversation with it. But take heed to what we were talking about tonight, ladies and germs, which is freedom is the most important thing of all you can have. Whatever you do, don't let somebody tell you that equality comes first, because you'll end up with neither. Always think that the individual rights is the most important thing. Stick to that, and you won't go far wrong. You might have to, I don't know, shoot every politician who currently exists. You might have to bring down an entire government to ensure that. But we haven't got much else going on in our lives at the moment, so we may as well do that. But
revolution.
Is that the quiet revolution? But for the rest of the week, people, behave yourselves. And if you can't behave yourselves, at least have a bit of fun and try not to get caught for doing it. So I shall see you all maybe Wednesday, possibly Friday. Who knows? Because it's just such an interesting week to come. So thanks everybody in the chat for all the usual shit you post. Thank you very much to my 3 panelists, and he said 2. That made me say the right bell end. And thank you, of course, to Mr. Ogre for running this wonderful channel. Thank you very much, sir.
There's a special place in hell for people who don't like Africa by Toto.
Well, thank you very much to you two. I don't really have too much else to say, to be fair, on this little stream. I know most people in the chat, when I was speaking to Ogre, were trying to suggest that I was trying to take away people's guns and things like that. I wasn't. I was just trying to look at it from different people's points of view. I mean, I'm quite a liberal person. It's just a case of I like to put the arguments to people to try and prove other people's different points of views. As I've said towards the end, this is not my view. It wasn't my view, but you have to argue that point. Because otherwise I would have just sat there with Ogre going, yep, I agree, we should all have guns. Even the English. We should all have guns. I completely and utterly agree with that statement and that sentiment. But it's the point that some people don't. And for you to have an actual proper debate and talk about it, you got to understand where they're trying to come from. Now, I'm not going to necessarily understand everything because I'm not in that position. I'm not in that mindset. But I can at least form the argument from it. And that's where both me and Ogre do very well at, because if we both agree, one of us generally will take the devil's advocate route and we will try to be the bipartisan point. Because that's the point of this channel in general, and this is a point of mine as well, is for the debate. It's not for blood sports. It's for debate. To be able to talk and express your opinion. Yes, we're not educated to the point of some politicians and some scientists, but that's the fucking point of it. The point of being able to have general people expressing a general point, their actual expressions, their actual thinking, their actual understandings of what's going on. That's the point of the internet channels. That's the point of what we're talking about, what we're trying to express. Is to have the normal common person actually being able to talk and actually being able to talk to each other, to talk to the opposite side, to be able to have an actual civil discourse. Yes, it doesn't always happen that way. And yes, sometimes it does turn into a blood sport. You can't. But generally, you have to sit down, you have to talk to people. And that's what we always talk about. The fact that people have to have their own personal responsibilities. And that's the same as owning a gun. That's the same as owning a hammer. That's the same as everything. Everything comes down to your responsibility. Your responsibility to be able to get up and fucking go to work. It's your responsibility if you go up and you decide you're going to shoot someone. It's your responsibility if you decide that you're going to stay in bed and you're going to kill yourself. That's your responsibility. Everything you do is on you. And we, as for some reason, as a society nowadays, look for a scapegoat. Oh, I didn't get the right results on my history exam. I'm going to blame the teacher. I'm going to blame the drugs. I'm going to blame this. How about you blame yourself? You didn't study enough. You didn't put the time in. You didn't put the effort in. And that's the problem with people nowadays. They expect to get something from nothing. And as any farmer, as Ogre would say, you don't get something from nothing. You've got to plant the fucking seed first. If you don't plant the seed, you don't get a tree.
I believe it. I believe it. Oh, was that
That's
it?
it for me.
No,
that's it for me.
So much. Thank you so much. If I would have just, I think another week, and I would have known that was my cue, and I could have just seamlessly started talking. No, I mean, I just hate to cut anybody off, and I tell you, yeah, Reaper, just hang in there. I'll be about as long. If nothing else, maybe this guy and I are those, those geeks. We're those nerds that love that debate, and we love to have two erudite, you know, dry, old, crackling. I mean, to common sense guy and I, something exciting would be, you know, Jordan Peterson is going to be on the Joe Rogan show. You know, let's get a pint of Jack Daniels and a couple beers. Yes. And, you know, we're actually excited about that. You know, we're stoked about that. We're talking to each other on Twitter while we watch, you know, and it's a big, exciting thing. So no, it's not for everyone. But I want to say this. It's the easy, some things are the easy way out. That's why I made the point. What is the difference? And maybe Reaper's too cool to say what it is. Maybe he can't articulate what it is. Maybe there is no answer to it. But there's always the person that will take the easy way out. We have a resident comedian here. His name's Magic Bollocks. I'm going to tell you what, I've never seen the guy take the easy way out. You think he's already made the joke, but he's around 5 other corners and comes at you with the punchline when you're already laughing. You know what I mean? And so we understand that comedy can be easy. You know, it can be fart jokes, and they're good. They can be complex also, but it can also be more complex. It can be more nuanced. It can come from a place of excuse me for saying it, but academia. All comedy. I mean, one of my favorite comedians is David Miller. When David Miller was saying Miller, right? What the fuck's his name? Am I forgetting his first name? Dave Miller. And it's not Dave, is it? Boy, I sound so dumb now. I'm trying to think of a smart comedian. I'm saying the wrong name. Anyway, he was on Saturday Night Live and he did the news for a while. I would say 3 out of 4 of his jokes I get, 1 out of 4 go right over my head. He was an announcer in the NFL for all of a half a season, and they got rid of him because nobody understood what he was saying half the time. Now, that might be a little extreme. All right, look, and now I got to get to my final word because I said it would be quick, and it will be quick. Look, I don't give a fuck who you are. If you think Donald Trump had sex with Stormy Daniels, like right after his son was born, Melania, you're stupid. I'm saying that not because I don't think that Donald Trump would hump a chick at that moment. That's not at all what I'm saying. I'm saying it because we're talking about a guy that there's a special, I think it was on Discovery Channel, where they show his plane, not Air Force One, his airplane. And they put this vinyl in this one little galley area, and they had the seam. He didn't like where the seam was. He made him take it all up and redo it, cost him untold money. I mean, these boys lost one of his cowls, and they had another cowl from another plane, and they were worried he would find out, so they didn't put it back together until they found his cowl for his jet engine. What am I saying? He doesn't like to shake hands. Do you think that he really wants to put his penis in a porn star? We're talking about a guy that doesn't have to. We're talking about a guy that doesn't have to know that because most guys know in the back of their mind that if theirs went in there, that if all the penises that were poked in or poked back out, she'd probably look like a porcupine. We all know that, but we try to tell ourselves that that's not the case. But in this case, Trump only has to go look at some videos. I typed her name in. She's not just a dancer. She's like on film and gets banged by dudes, lots of dudes, different dudes. I don't think that appeals to Trump. So I don't. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is this. Fuck it, man. Guns, like school shootings, they don't happen. But one just happened in Florida, Ogre. You lost your mind. Fuck you. Listen to what I'm saying. They don't fucking happen. They never fucking happen. It's beyond striking the lottery. If you're worried about something, make sure your children wear their safety belts. Gun control. Are you fucking kidding me? Make sure they wear their helmets when they're on their bicycles, even if they feel like they're not cool for wearing it. If you really care about your children, make sure they wear their seatbelt in their car and put their fucking helmet on their bicycles. You quit telling me this shit about fucking guns. Suck my cock. No one's taking my guns ever. If they do, look, what people they want to point to this. This is where I'll wrap it up. Everyone point that all these lily-livered, just I can't even say it. I'm near trembling thinking about the pussies that want to enact this shit.
It's like trying to prevent suicides by putting a cage around a bridge. They're going to find another way to throw themselves off.
Thank you. So with that, I'll just say it's obvious I've went on for a little bit. I'm trying everyone's patience here. I'm trying everyone's patience out there. Thank you for coming by. Quote Joe Rogan, there's no way unless you want to nerf the world, there's going to be danger. If you want to be safe, stop smoking cigarettes and wear your seatbelt.
I'll never miss an opportunity to talk shit.
If you forget about everything else I've said now, Reaper, everybody else here, I want you to remember 3 things. If you want to have a long and happy life, regardless of anything else I've ever said, the entire time you've known me, the entire time you've been coming to this channel, if you want to have a long and happy life, you will do these 3 things. Wear your seatbelt when you're in a car. Front seat, back seat, no matter. Pop that baby on. Don't listen to the arguments about, well, what if you flip upside down in water? Well, you're going to fucking die. But if it's any other situation outside of that or trapped in a burning car, well, maybe you'll die if you can't get out. Okay, it could happen. But if it's any other situation, the seatbelt could save your life many, 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 many times over. So wear that seatbelt. Number 2. So let's track with me now. Follow me, track with me, people. Number 1, wear your seatbelt. Wear your safety belt. Okay. Number 2, stop smoking cigarettes. If you smoke, quit it. Don't tell me you can't do it. I started smoking when I was 38 years old. I stopped when I was 41. Never smoked before, haven't smoked since. I'm 43 now. It's a tough habit to break once you have it, but you can do it. It can be done. And if you want to have a long, healthy life, you will, number 1, wear your safety belt. Number 2, quit smoking cigarettes.
My mom quit this shit 14 years ago.
You forget everything else that I've said. Number 3 is the most important. Because I'm going to tell it to you this way, Reaper of Butts. Be good to your friends. Be good to your family members. Be good to your loved ones. Be quick to say you're sorry. Be even quicker to accept an apology, especially when that thing your friend, your family member, your loved one has done seems to be so huge, you'll never be able to forget about it. Because constant viewers, my beloved co-host, Reaper of Butts, at a time you think not, your friends, your family members, your loved ones, your life, your cause, and everything you know will depart from you.